Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm just checking my computer settings. Well, hopefully everything is okay. Let's see. Good morning. Hi, Britt. Welcome. And Mindy. And Wendy. Hello. It looks like my internet is not great. So please keep me posted on that. I know you will, and I appreciate that. I hope you can hear me okay. I've changed some settings on my computer with the audio and video, and I don't have my microphone. I'm obviously not in the same place, and I've been here a while, so y'all have seen me here already. And one more disclaimer, the power went out like 3 minutes ago. So if I suddenly disappear, it's because the power went out and the Wi-Fi went out. Oh, let me check one thing. No? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the internet is slow because the power just went out. But yes, thank you all for being here. Let's take a beautiful breath together as a collective as we settle into this beautiful sacred space. I was reflecting before the session today that it has officially been a full 5 years that I have been doing this specific live stream series at this specific time, which is, wow for me. I became a teacher here about 5.5 years ago, and it was around this time of year that I started doing this weekly series, and could have imagined I'd still be doing it, the places I've been, the places I've brought you all with me through the years, and many of you have been with me the whole time or most of that time, and I appreciate all of you. I appreciate Insight Timer. And I have gratitude. And I also now double stream on on YouTube most of the time. Today, if there's internet issues, if it causes problems, I might turn that off because it does take up a lot of bandwidth. But I've been double live streaming over there for a few years now as well, and I know many of you do catch the replays and things. I also do post meditations and things over there as well sometimes. So I'm excited because I have submitted 2 videos to Insight Timer for approval, and fingers crossed they will approve them. And I am working on some new audio meditations. I have just published 2 new tracks here on Insight Timer. One is Infancy Affirmations, and you may have heard me speak about this already. Infancy affirmations are for those who grew up feeling not wanted, or feeling that, the parents wanted a boy or a girl and you weren't the sex that they wanted or the gender that they wanted. So it's a very powerful 2-minute audio in my free tracks. So you can access that if you would like. The other one is a talk I did last month when I was in Guatemala about when your soul is ready for expansion. So, excuse me. A rusty voice this morning. Hi, Kat. Good morning. Glad to see you. So you can check all of those out as well as my premium tracks, and stay tuned for more live streams as they are scheduled. So follow me if you don't already, and thank you for those who do. And you can also join my group, Natalie's Healing Circle, here in Insight Timer. That's a place where I post updates and make announcements, about if we do a giveaway, or if I post a new track, or if I reschedule a live stream. So, and if you don't know me, I'm Natalie, spiritual life coach and Reiki master teacher. And also pet sitter now. That's why I'm in this house that I'm in. I think you guys got to see him last week. He came over and introduced himself, the dog. He's a very cute, very old dog, 15 years old. His name is Bruiser. I don't know what he is. He's very small. Not very small. He's small. Yeah. If you see him, you'll know. Somebody will know what kind of dog he is. So, I've been listening to Michael Singer again this week. It's been great to refresh back into his teachings. I know many of you like Michael Singer and follow him, and maybe you need a refresher yourself. I'm feeling that for some of you. And, for me, the biggest message that he has, well, there's a couple, but the one that stuck out when I listened to him yesterday was, this idea about we must learn and recondition ourselves and train ourselves to stop looking to manage and control and manipulate the outside world in order to feel better inside. We need to reverse the process. We need to work with our interior, and we need to work with how that feels. And as he says, we get to relax and release. And he was talking about that yesterday as well, of the minute you notice resistance, the minute you notice tension or tightening in this chest and heart area, that's when you just relax. That's when you tune in and allow that energy to move, because the tension is resisting and keeping it pushed down and keeping it inside of your energetic field. In doing that, instead of let me go try and change all of these things outside of myself. And he says it doesn't mean we don't do things in the outside world, but we don't come from a place of trying to change how we feel by doing the things. He always says, advocate, do whatever, stand for causes you believe in, and not to do it from a place of dis-ease inside, basically. Hi, J.E. Actually, that's a mirror, and that's my head moving. Yeah, it's probably hard to see what everything is, but there's a lot. This mirror is reflecting the chandelier in front of me, and there's a painting and a light and a chair and a railing and a lamp. But yeah, if Bruiser is the dog's name, if Bruiser comes over, I will see if I can introduce him. So yesterday I was getting my cards ready to bring over here from my house. Oh, here he comes now. And I didn't even shuffle the cards. I don't even know, but somehow this card came out. And I was like, wow, I've never seen this, and it's got a ton of words on it. And it says, who is having all of these physical, emotional, and mental experiences? Notice who is experiencing the experience. Realize that you, the experiencer, have a certain quality. And that quality is awareness, consciousness, an intuitive sense of existence. You exist regardless, thoughts or no thoughts. So this is really tuning into the non-dual nature of our existence, that part that is infinite and timeless and unwavering and never changing. We experience our physicality, our emotionality, our mentality. We are not that, and that's the journey to disidentify from this physical experience in order to rest in the seat of consciousness itself, being that witness and being the observer. And that experiencer part of us has a certain quality, awareness, consciousness, an intuitive sense of existence. Let's breathe into that. And here comes Buster. I always want to call him Buster. Bruiser. Bruiser. Let's see if I can bring him over. Bruiser. Come here. Come here. Come here. Here he goes. Okay, everybody. Bruiser. Say hello. He doesn't like being held. Eckhart Tolle always talks about dogs. Well, not always, but he is adorable, isn't he? But Eckhart always talks about dogs and how they are beacons of presence, which kind of goes into what I'm just saying as well, you know. And you could say all animals. For some reason, he talks about dogs, probably because of how much us humans interact with them and how much they're a part of our lives. Bruiser! In that when you look into the eyes of a dog, you see that pure presence and awareness. I would say the same for children, depending on their state of being in the moment. If they aren't, even if they are crying their eyes out, they are being very present. And it's, I love being around children when they're in their imagination mode and their exploration mode, and walking or playing with things or picking up rocks on the ground, or all of the things children do, and they are so present when they do that. And so just using animals, using people, as reminders. Let me tune into their energy. Let me drop in to my own qualities of presence and awareness, because we all have it. We have the same level of, awareness as dogs, as children. It's just been covered up by ego conditioning. Kat, I imagine you know about that. Isn't it true you have rescue animals? I don't want to guess wrong, but I seem to remember that. So, We're going to dive into the cards. And I've got our Lenormand cards again. I used those last week because they were the only ones I had here. And it went well because I've said this before, you read these in a very specific way, and also you don't have to. So let me see. I think I'll start with Light Seers and then bring those cards in. So, is this anybody's first time being in one of my Insight Timer live streams, or being on a live stream with somebody who is reading cards? Or is this anybody's first time experiencing a card reading of any kind? Hi, Ginger. You just missed Bruiser, the 15-year-old dog I'm taking care of that's so adorable. Glad you're here. Yeah, that's why we were saying that. So let's see. Yes, that's what we were saying, Ginger. Well, I was talking about how Eckhart Tolle says that, dogs are kind of a window or a beacon into presence when you look in their eyes. He calls them something specific, like windows of presence, or I can't remember exactly, but something like that. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, and I know y'all, of course, are, those who follow me, and you hear of my own journeys and struggles and challenges and victories. And I know a few weeks ago I was struggling a lot with my physicality, and I appreciate everyone who expressed care and concern, and just to say it seems to be better now as far as my headaches. I mean, fingers crossed it's not 100%, and it's this week gotten a lot better. So thanks for those who have asked. And thank you, Kat. Yeah, the landlord has been another issue. Honestly, I just let that go. And this is a good teaching, because a situation occurred where, and Eckhart talks about this, people's role. When we get into a role, ROLE, obviously, we come out of presence. And also there's expectation. If somebody's a doctor, you expect them to show up a certain way. If somebody's your girlfriend or your husband, having these labels are necessary in the world, and also they bring expectation. And so, of course, landlord, I have expectations on the duties and responsibilities that will be fulfilled by somebody in that label and in that role. And those expectations were not met. And when I communicated, that I needed things fixed, I was met with dismissal and bitchiness, honestly. Harsh no's, and yeah, it was very, very challenging to deal with. So I handled it myself, as far as paying out of pocket myself to get the issue fixed, which I think I did. And, if it was that simple, that would be great. It's not, because I paid too high of a power bill for over a year because of the house issue. So I had to go through a process, and I had to make a choice. Am I going to, confront them? Am I going to try and get what I want? Am I going to try and get what I think is right as far as, reimbursement for all the money I've spent in a high power bill that was not my fault, in reimbursement of getting the issue fixed. If I was in another country, maybe I would have, but being in Mexico, basically there's no rights, or it's very expensive to get a lawyer and do all that. And so I made a choice just to not do anything and see what happens. And now that weeks have passed, guess what? I am feeling a ton of some peace and acceptance around it, where I'm just choosing to let it go. For me, it's more peaceful, and the brevity of it, the charge of it, it's less now. So, it's not perfect. And I see this like spiritual judgmental voice coming in that's like, you need to stand up for yourself and blah, 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 and, advocate for yourself. And it's not that voice isn't true, and it's not a loving voice for me. It's a critical voice. And for me, I had to make a choice. What's more important, my peace and my nervous system or some money? Yes, exactly, Kat. And hi, Nancy and Tatiana. Welcome. Yeah, there's a question, how important is it? Sometimes it is important enough. The decision that I've made as a result is I am moving out. So that decision has been made, and that became clear. So, I'm not just completely not acting. So great, we get to choose how we see situations, and we get to choose the perspective and the perception on which we see anything. So, the lesson that I can take from that is, I learned a little bit of a painful, a little bit of an expensive lesson. And it gave me a lot of clarity that I am not going to live there anymore. So that's my takeaway. The thing, and if y'all have followed me, I have not lived in any place as long as I've lived in the place I'm in now. I've lived there. I'll be moving out, just short of 2 years. And y'all have followed me around the world. I've not lived anywhere that long since I was married. So yeah, everything has lessons and challenges and victories, and we get to choose our perceptions on those things. Yeah, Jay, thanks for that. Again, this is a preference, as Michael Singer would talk about. My mind has made up that I have a preference that I want to live steps from the lake, which is amazing, and I love it. And I'm releasing that preference now. I'm releasing this die-hard preference that I have to be near there. I have a bike. I have an electric bike. I have some movement options. So and I may leave the country, that's still up in the air. Hi, Laura. Thank you, Tatiana. I'm talking about that now. I have not yet moved, and I will move. So that's the takeaway. So anyway, pull your own spiritual lessons from my examples as always. I'm here to share, my humanity, my victories, my messy humanness, my struggles, in hopes that they will help you to reflect, identify, normalize things in your own experience. Sometimes when we get on the spiritual journey, we think it has to be perfect, and we set this bar so high for ourselves sometimes. We don't allow ourselves to be human. And, to me, the biggest journey of all in these soul incarnations that we're incarnating in these physical bodies over and over is to learn to love ourselves. And it sounds so trite, and it's so true. To stop the judgment, stop the criticism on ourselves, turn towards ourselves. I say this often in my coaching. When we criticize, when we abandon, when we betray ourselves, we turn away from ourselves. So it's this turning back towards ourselves, to be on our own team, on our own side. And I said this quote recently, I love it. And I'm not religious, but it says, God said to forgive your enemies, and so I forgave myself. To me, that sums it up the best. Because we just, we are conditioned with this innate criticism, not good enough. And so normalizing our experiences is part of that. So, card time. I've already shuffled, as y'all have seen, but I'm just kind of cutting the deck. Okay, so we have the Seven of Pentacles to start. And you can see he's planted seeds already, and he's nurturing the small plant that's growing. So there's already been a lot of work done here to plant the seeds. You can see there's a lot of root structure underneath. The pentacles are here. They're underneath the surface. They are not yet visible. So the fruits of your labor are not yet visible in a big way. You have the beginnings of it. So right now, it's a process of waiting, of nurturing, of being present, of tending to your garden, and tending to the sprouts that you have planted. And this is, it's not that there's nothing showing on the ground, right? You have the small seedling sprouted. And still, it can be easy to get into a place of, I can't be happy until this is fully grown and is producing fruit. So you get to work with wherever you are right now. And I mean, this goes right into like this human journey that I'm talking about. If you're here with me, if you're here in this app, you have a certain level of knowledge, awareness, evolution, or you have interest in it enough to where you're here. And then it can be easy to be like, I want it all now. Like, where is it? Where's my abundance? Where's my love? Where's my money? Where's my my energy, my health? And this card is saying, let's be with the experience of nurturing the plant, of watching it grow. I used to have a magnet that said, the journey is the destination. And that's too what this card is speaking of. The journey is the destination. The journey or the destination, whatever. It's not about once the plant is producing fruit. So I want to look at the card, the affirmation of this card in the Light Seers website. So there might be something you're impatient about. So the affirmation is, I give thanks for what I'm about to harvest, knowing that my life is headed in a beautiful direction. Everything that I'm saying, right? I give thanks for what I'm about to harvest, knowing that my life is headed in a beautiful direction. So that's what I'm picking up on too, is having faith. Having faith and trust in the process. You know, these seeds and these roots, or these pentacles, it takes time to grow. And the thing is, as I said, it's not that there's nothing showing. So you already have some evidence. And still, it's going to take faith. Faith and trust in the process. So the meanings are a moment to pause and reflect, states of gratitude, reevaluating your journey, waiting to harvest the fruits of your labor, and a sign to keep going. So I'm going to read this whole description because I feel it's important. So just allow this and take this in. Inspecting the work, he wonders how fruitful these plants will be. He can't see the magic underneath the soil. He just has a feeling that things are happening under there, and it's a very good feeling. It's almost here, right? His intuition answers yes. But I can't see anything yet. Have faith. He sighs, knowing there's nothing more he can do at the moment except continue to believe and to nurture this little venture. He puts his hands over the plant and sends it some healing love. And even though he doesn't see the immediate effects in his little friend, he certainly feels it right away in his heart. Isn't that beautiful? I have never seen, and I've never read this description, the healing energy. I know you probably can't see it. It's whatever, not bright enough, but maybe you can. There's healing light coming from his hand to the plant. I've never noticed that. So you can nurture your venture, and what is this venture for you? Is it a business? Is it a relationship? Is it your physical health? Is it your spiritual journey or your journey with yourself? This is the Light Seers Ginger, the one I always use for the past years. The original Seven of Pentacles looks like this. You can see that. So again, you can see the waiting, and the fruits are on the vine, but they're not ready yet. So this is now the message of the card. If you're watching the plants closely, they never really seem to grow. Just like a pot boiling, it won't boil as you watch it, right? But when you look away for a moment, they flourish overnight. Trust that things are happening even when you can't see the nuanced energies that are bringing them forth. This card is a sign you're almost there. You've been doing the work and your wildly successful roots are growing. While you may not see the fruits of your labor yet, know they're on their way, and that any lack you feel is simply residual energy you're working through. It's time to root into faith, belief, and knowing, because you've come so far on this journey, and it's almost time to enjoy the rewards of your determination. Take a moment to pause, give thanks, and realize you are the living, breathing result of all of your memories, hopes, dreams, and hard work. This is your long game, the investment. Keep going. Often, this moment will serve as a time to revisit your purpose and direction. Your arrival is only possible after you can pinpoint the destination. Has your journey shifted so much that what you originally germinated is not the thing you desire to harvest? What needs to change so you can satisfy your deepest intentions and so that your creator energy finds peace and fulfillment? If you're feeling any frustration around your lack of progress, remember that giant dreams are not built in a day. Delays happen. So questions you can ask. How much faith do you have when you can't see the proof? And that's when you need faith. If you have the proof, you're not having faith. It's already there. How much faith do you have when you can't see the proof? Is it time to take up or revisit a gratitude practice? Amazing things take time. What else can you do while you're waiting for it to arrive? Wonderful. Hi, Dreisel. Shalom. Wow. Congrats. 1 week sober. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that is such an achievement and such a challenging thing to overcome and start. So wonderful. All right. And yeah, I mean, rebuilding, or not necessarily rebuilding, but learning to live sober. Plant your little sober tree here. It will germinate into something bigger that bears tons of fruit. So, we've got Tower's coming. So something unexpected may happen in regards to whatever this is for you. Something that comes out of the blue. It might even fuck with your plant. It might. It's interesting, right? Because in this deck, the imagery is what it is. So we have, the little plant growing, but then this tree, I know it's really dark. Let's see. There we go. There, now y'all can see the cards better. So you can see the tower is a tree being struck by lightning, right? So there might be something unexpected that happens with your tree, whatever that tree is for you. And again, the message, the overarching message for this is having faith and trust, which means you don't know. When you don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know in this journey of life, in a bigger sense, and with whatever this theme is, it will require faith and trust in you to build that and cultivate a connection with your higher power, whatever that may be. Because something's going to shake up your tree. That's what this means. As I always say with the Tower card, it's very jarring, it can be very challenging. And in the tarot journey, the card after the Tower is the Star, one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. So something about this, what you've planted, it needs purifying, it needs reorganization, or it needs clearing, it needs cleansing. And the Tower will do that. It will crumble. It will crumble the structure, and it's necessary for, something better to grow. It might be the tree has diseased parts And here, the tree's on fire. And in the original Tower card, the tree is also on fire. So something needs to be cleansed and purified with this situation. So this is where whatever the unexpected occurs is that you get to, again, have faith and trust in this journey. And then we have the beautiful World card. Something will come to completion. Something will come to fruition. So this is where you get to keep your eyes. Don't get lost in the chaos, in the drama of the Tower. I mean, the message just keeps screaming in my ear, like faith, 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 faith. Bigger picture. Having the patience to nurture and grow whatever it is for you. Having the faith and trust to go through the ups and downs and the bumpy parts and the unexpected twists and turns, because that's life, and something will be, is there anybody else that's an Office fan? I'm a big Office, the show Office. And a line comes to mind where they say, burn it to the ground. Yeah, I mean, something like that may occur. But keep this bigger vision in mind. I'm going to look at the world. We've had that come up recently. The world is the completion card in the major arcana part of the tarot. So the affirmation is, I ascend to new levels of awareness. I am love. I ascend to new levels of awareness. I am love. And the meanings are completion, achievement, joy, finishing a large project, goals met, wholeness, happy endings, abundance, success, transcendence, new levels of consciousness, or it could mean traveling the world even. So this is a really clear message. Do not lose sight of this when the Tower comes. You will succeed. It's not going to be a smooth sailing process. But really, aside from the Star card or the Sun card, this card, you really couldn't get any better. So, the cards are saying, here's your, I don't want to say warning, but be aware. Be aware of the unexpected. And it reminds me too of this saying, like, how is this all happening for me and not to me? Because towers can feel like, oh my God, like even my whole little landlord house situation, or even my headache situation can be easy to be like, why is this happening to me? How is this happening for me? That will shift everything for you. And with this situation, if that Tower comes and it's jarring, how is this happening for me? Knowing that the world is coming after. So let's see what energies Lenormand has to add, and then we'll close with a few minutes of Reiki and Tarot. Paths. So this is really obvious. You're going to be faced with choices. And I feel like in the theme of the reading, it's like, am I going to choose faith over fear here? And when you notice fear, how are you going to work with that? Man. So there might, the man card is a literal man person or whatever expression of man works for you. But there will be something involving a man with this situation. Let's see what else. And woman. I've never had this before, man and woman. So let's just say people. There will be people involved. And I also feel like the message that's coming through around that is utilize support. Utilize people in your life. One of my coaching clients, today's my day off. And, my clients can message me 24/7 and, my agreement is that, I don't answer on Sundays because it's my day off. I happened to see a message from them come in this morning. They're really struggling. And she's like, I know it's your day off. And of course I'm going to answer her, and because if there's some, big challenge or something, I'm not going to disappear. I want to help. And really, like, what I'm going to say is, like, I really acknowledge you for asking for help and reaching out and sharing what's going on. So I feel like with this, that's what these people can be for you. Reach out to your help and support. Don't do this alone. And you might even reach out for support in helping you choose a path. And then we have this polar bear card. So the bear card in this deck is to embody that bear energy. Bears are strong, they're powerful, they go after what they want, they're decisive. So do not lose faith in your original Seven of Pentacles idea or whatever is growing. The path is not going to just be straightforward. So utilize your help and support. Embody this bear energy. Okay. So we will go ahead and drop in for a few minutes. Yeah. Embody that bear energy, Nancy. Okay, we're going to do some Reiki and Ancestral Clearing. So close your eyes if you'd like to receive and have the intention to receive. And just noticing in your body, whatever has come up for you during this session, just tune into whatever energy and motion you notice. And I'm just activating the Reiki. And your higher self will draw in the energy exactly where it needs to go. And feel free to move your body as it wants to move, or emote, or yawn, or anything that needs to happen. And you might take this time to have an intention to just surrender whatever your Seven of Pentacles theme was for the card reading. Just surrendering that the issue, the project, the idea, the relationship, the whatever. Having faith and trust. As Abraham Hicks says, everything is always working out for me. How is this part of everything always working out for me too? And you might imagine this Seven of Pentacles issue for you as an actual symbol in your mind's eye. It might even be that card. And you can just allow your mind to come up with whatever that symbol is for you that this represents, and just allowing it to be released. Release it from your hands. Allowing it to float up into the sky, into space, as a symbol of releasing this to God, higher power, the universe, divine love. And just letting it go. Letting go and letting God. And trusting that the universe will arrange things, allow things to fall into be into place exactly as needed for your best and highest good. And just feel the peace and relaxation, knowing it's taken care of. Feel the relief. And with the fingers of your right hand, I want you to touch your first finger and your thumb together to make a circle, and press that together tightly as you have that image in your mind, and feel that faith and trust and peace that it's taken care of. And breathe into that as your fingers are pressed together. And that is an anchor that you can use to wire that feeling of faith and trust and peace and letting go to the universe with that feeling in your body. And that's something that you can practice and utilize when fear takes over, when the tower moment comes. You can anchor that feeling by pressing the finger and thumb together. Infinite Creator, for the highest good, please lift out all weight, pain, burden, sin, death, debt, negativity, spells, hexes, curses, black magic, white magic, guilt, fear, shame, unworthiness, and limitation of all kind. Transform it into your love and let your love flow back in and through us all, filling and giving us all complete peace now and forever. Please and thank you, please and thank you, please and thank you. Please help us love and bless each other, love and bless ourselves. Be at peace with each other and at peace with ourselves. Please and thank you, please and thank you, please and thank you. You can go ahead and allow the eyes to float open if you would like as we come to a close for today's session. Thank you all so much for joining. If you care to give a donation, you can do so here through the app, or there are other ways if you prefer. And please give me a follow if you don't already. And until the end of July, I still will be offering, because there is still a few slots available for my gifted 50 coaching sessions for my 50th year of life. So if you would like to receive one of those gifted sessions, send me a message with the word 50 or the number 50. You can do that here through Insight Timer, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, website, everywhere that I am. Thank you, Ginger. And appreciate your presence as well as everybody else's here. You're welcome, Tatiana. Thank you, Dreisel. And yeah, remember the card reading with, it was really interesting in the Lenormand to have the man and the woman come right after one another, because this is a small deck. It's only 36 cards. Look at how much smaller it is than the Lightseer's 72 cards. So it's interesting that the man and the woman would come. And to me, those are, as came through, supports. So I encourage you to utilize support. Think about the support you have or don't have. And of course, as a life coach, I offer that support in many, many different avenues. Whatever you're feeling stuck with in your life, whatever you're coming up against. So you can message me for the 50th gifted offer if you want to work with me as a coach. I do have a couple spots open for clients. So thank you, Kat, for the donation. You're welcome, Nancy. Thank you for your donation as well. I saw that come through. And I will see you next Sunday. I will be adding more live streams. I've been super busy in the month of July with coaching. So yeah, I will be adding more sessions. I'll be diving more into relationship dynamics as I have earlier in the year. Toxic relationships, attachment styles, love addiction, trauma bonding, all of those juicy topics. And I do have an Etsy store where I sell digital workbooks to help people overcome those issues. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I will be here with Bruiser a few more weeks. I'm here about a month, so I'm about halfway through. Yeah, it's funny. He came over to visit once and never came back, so I think he knows what's going on. So I will see you all soon. Much love and namaste.